Period. Welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert. I'm Steve Glenn.
I'm Paul Glenn.
Paul, we're headed for summer.
Summer's coming.
Summer's coming. That means we're coming out with our annual list of the Coolcations. What's a Coolcation, Paul?
Someplace that's not hot. Get me out of the heat.
It's a place to take a vacation that's cool when it's hot. And most of the U.S. is hot.
Yeah. When we get into July and August.
Yeah, and then it gets humid and all that stuff. So we put together a list in this week's Weekly Travel Alert, the top 10 destinations that I recommend for Coolcations this summer. Weekly Travelers put on and sponsored by Executive Travel. You can find us at executivetravel.com. We've got an easy peasy phone number, 402-435-8888. You know, Paul, a lot of people read our Weekly Traveler. Mm-hmm. And I just got an email from a friend today that retired down in Phoenix, and he was reading the newspaper down there, the Arizona something, and he said, "Hey, you were quoted in the Arizona." I said, "Well, nobody interviewed me." They took from our Weekly Traveler the exact message about how airlines are dealing with fuel, and one of the things is we said they park their inefficient planes in the desert.
Well, they do them all down there.
Yeah,
and Phoenix and Tucson.
So they were writing an article about all the planes that were being parked in Arizona, and they quoted our Weekly Traveler. Mm-hmm. Wow, we get around.
How we do.
Hey, so we're ready to rumble on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler. We're talking about Coolcations. Here's my top 10 Coolcation destinations for summer 2026. Number 1.
Okay.
Greenland.
Okay.
Now, it's the new frontier. Nobody goes there, but they're going to. And United Airlines just added a flight, I think 4 times a week, something like that.
Going out of Chicago?
Oh,
Newark?
out of on the East Coast. It's either Newark or Dulles.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know what we're seeing with Dulles? This is really fascinating. Dulles is one of the only airports on the East Coast that's not crowded with flights. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing United build up like 40 additional gates that they're taking and adding flights internationally because Newark is so overcrowded and has so many problems. They're moving their growth into Dulles, which is really fascinating. So Greenland, now here's the big question, Paul. Will Greenland grab some of Iceland's?
That was going to be my comment. I didn't want to jump ahead.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what my first thought was, is this is going to be the people that have jumped on the Iceland bandwagon. It's been hot for the last 5 to 10 years now. And then Iceland has tried to prevent some of that overcrowding that's coming and the impacts of some of the tourism. So my natural thought is this is the new Coolcation for the people that have been there, done that Iceland. This is something different.
And I'm going to add this. I've been doing a lot of research today on fares to Europe and business class fares especially. And I've noticed one amazing thing. Southwest Airlines now goes into Iceland and connects with Iceland Air into Europe.
Okay.
And their business class fares are like $3,000, and United's are like $7,000, and American.
But are they the same experience?
No, probably not.
Yeah, I think I've looked at that before, and I don't think you get the lay flat. You don't get the Polaris type experience. So I think you also got to make sure you're comparing the apples to apples.
Apple to apple.
You may have an apple to a lemon on that one.
Well, we don't want to change your experience, Paul. Mr. Mucky Muck on travel. Hey, number 2 on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler, which is the Coolcations for this summer of 2026. Alaska cruise. This is wildlife and 60 degrees. That's pretty good stuff, Paul.
One of my go-tos. I think I've done it almost a dozen times. Every time it's just a wonderful experience. Great thing to do either just as a couple or a family. You do the cruise and there's something for all ages. The last one we did on a smaller ship last summer, and it was great. You could find a corner on the ship and almost have it just to yourself.
Well, that was Seabourn, which is, a lot different having, 800 people on a ship versus 8,000?
Yeah, we would grab that back where a couple hot tubs were every afternoon and just have the whole place to ourselves. It was a great experience.
Yeah, I was going to jump in that hot tub with my swimming suit, but there was a hole in the knee, Paul. Hey, Alaska's number 2, and I agree with you. I would go there almost every summer.
Yeah, it's one of those places we've talked about, and don't want to get too ahead, and I don't think I am, but there are certain places that certain times of year they're just perfect. Yeah. And, it can be in Alaska on a cruise or Ireland. You get into August. Ireland can be some cooler weather than what we're used to here. So lots of different places that if you can find that perfect destination, that perfect time of year, could be wonderful for an annual adventure.
Well, and speaking of Alaska cruise, this next number 3 is a segue into the Alaska cruise. It's where you depart from on many cruises. Vancouver, British Columbia, and in Canada, of course. This is where urban cool meets nature, and it's a giant city.
It is,
but it just feels. I call it like Hong Kong.
It is kind of the Hong Kong of North America.
Yeah.
And it's been, over the last 10, 20 years, the amount of international business that's going through Vancouver, it's incomprehensible. And to that, it's expensive as well. You don't think about Canada and expensive, but...
try to get a hotel in July.
Well, I've got a friend that had an aunt pass away up there, and a 600 square foot house sold for $2 million just because it was in the right area and where all this business is growing. So it's not what you expect when you think about Canada.
It's got that Pacific Northwest vibe, that urban vibe, but it's just like super cool because you got the Asian influence.
There's a lot of Asian influence.
And then you've got all this great food, great restaurants. You've got the Bay Area, so you got the cool things of seeing a float boat.
The float boats coming in.
Yeah. And all the cruise ships coming in and going out, and sailboats, of course, the mega yachts. It's just super cool in the summertime. Number 4 on this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert, we're talking about where are the top 10 Coolcations. We're thankful that we're sponsored by Executive Travel, and you can find us once again at executivetravel.com. And every Tuesday, we send out about 100,000 weekly travel alerts via email. And on Friday, what do they get from you?
Travel Week in Review, which is just an overview of the top 5 media stories that impact travel that have come out that week. So just kind of keeping you in the know as to what's going on.
We also have a third thing that we send out. It's called Travel News Now. If you want to send us an email, you can send that to info@executivetravel.com. For example, when Spirit Airlines was about to go out of business, we send out a Travel News Now, a red alert. We have green alerts, yellow alerts, red alerts. We sent out a red alert. We warned people. And the cool thing about using a travel management company like Executive Travel, we had our team, Katie, looked at every reservation and we said, is there anybody booked
going to
on
be
Spirit?
Impacted?
And you know what?
We got lucky. No, we actually did get lucky. We tend to not promote carriers like Spirit and Frontier and some of those just because the risk or service levels and things like that.
But we had 0 people on Spirit, which is amazing because we do hundreds of thousands of airline tickets a year. And so none of our customers were inconvenienced by that. But think about that, ladies and gentlemen. We're protecting you. We're servicing you. We will notify you if there's schedule changes. We talked about that last week, all the schedule changes.
If you did have that, help with getting into the refund process. We'll see how that all is going to play out here over the next couple weeks. But all the things there's a lot of risk in travel.
Yeah. Number 4 on the top 10 Coolcation destinations for 2026, Iceland. It's been here for a while. What, 10 years or so?
10 years probably, yeah.
Yeah, summer without the heat.
Have you been?
Yeah.
Have you?
The Blue Lagoon.
You've been? See, I haven't
Blue
been.
Lagoon, dude.
I need to. I have no travel like on the horizon except for a couple meetings. I need to
man.
find something this summer. Find that perfect cool occasion.
Now, number 5 on this week's list of the top 10 Coolcations. Finland, luxury in the Nordic wild. And so you could probably say most of the Scandinavian countries. You're a Norway dude,
Give
aren't
me
you?
any place in Scandinavia during the summer. It's beautiful. Finland is one of those places. Helsinki, it's so much water, so many, there's pirate ships out in the bay. It's just one of those places unlike any place else you'll ever see.
So you've done the Oslo thing and...
We've done Norway, we've done Sweden, we've done Finland, we've done
Denmark.
Yeah. Yep.
So any of those, I would say, but keep in mind.
It's the people of Scandinavia.
Sure.
They're so welcoming. You get into Europe and not everybody's as welcoming. But
well, can you imagine going 8 months in winter time in Scandinavia and then you see real people come? It's like, oh, welcome. And there's real people coming to see us. So, but it is fun. And now, we had a weird thing happen because it started to warm up more in Scandinavia during the summertime. So they don't have air conditioning.
Yeah.
And they don't even have fans. Yeah. Because it doesn't usually get that warm, but we've had some warm spells about 5 years ago that went through Sweden when we were there, and it was miserable to stay in a hotel without air conditioning or even
no
fans.
Airflow. Yeah.
Okay, we're on to number 6, Amsterdam. Culture without the scorching heat. Of course, Amsterdam's been famous recently for over-tourism. Mm-hmm. They basically put a tourist tax on. They've told their cruise ships you can't port in this area. You have to port outside of town and bus in. The river cruises they've been limiting as well. And so it's interesting to know. That's probably a great place to try in the off season. Mm-hmm. But Coolcation, it is nice and cool there, but there's still a lot of tourists there. So that's kind of iffy for me because I don't like to go shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, no, that's one. It's a beautiful destination, but yeah, you might definitely want to not be there during peak season.
Now we're switching gears. Number 7, Patagonia, Chile and Argentina, winter adventure. Because when it's summer here in the south,
it's winter.
It's winter.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dramatic landscapes. There's no crowds, of course. Head south for the winter. And this is a Coolcation because, as we say, when it's summer here, it's winter there.
And it's one of those destinations that isn't necessarily at the top of everybody's list. It's either at the top of your list because it's something you want to experience, and I've got a friend that goes there about every year, but it's not one of those places that comes up in conversation very much. So definitely something that would be of interest to anybody when you came back from that trip to hear about what that experience was, because there's a lot you could do with that experience down there.
You bet. Number 8 on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler of the top 10 Coolcations, cool places to take a vacation, is New Zealand, the South Island. Road trip heaven. So you've got all the snow-capped peaks, the epic drives, adventure at every turn. And people always say they want to go to Australia. But in reality, New Zealand's prettier,
when people
more fun.
Come back when they've done both, they always say, I'd go back to New Zealand. I don't need to do Australia.
But if you're going to go that far, you got to do both. You got to do both,
yeah.
You got to do Australia. You got to do Sydney, do the bridge climb. You got to do the Blue Mountains.
When you've done it, how long have you been there for?
I think it was about 3 weeks.
So you gotta. It's an investment in time, but if you're going to go that far, to your point, it wasn't a 17-hour flight or something. I mean, it's like
20 by the time. Yeah, it's a long flight, and to do it, I think I did it in coach.
You did the first time.
I know so long ago. I did it in
25
coach.
years probably. But
do you even know what coach is? Is that something you've ever sat in?
Flying in coach to a meeting here next month. So yes,
I think you went to Taipei once in coach, didn't you?
I did. EVA Airways. I had won some freebies at a conference.
Free tickets, and you know why they were free.
And And yeah, I think that was the trip that I came back and said afterwards, yeah, if you want me to go to Asia, that's when I was part of the manufacturing company. So we'd go over for a conference twice a year. I was like, yep, you guys can cover this unless I'm going to sit a little more comfortable than back in that back.
Hey, we're getting to the end of our top 10 list of Coolcation destinations. Number 9, Cape Town, South Africa. Food, wine, perfect weather, and you can even throw in a safari if you want to.
I was hoping to get this one in this year. I haven't been. I've got a friend that's been down there a dozen times, and I was hoping to go down with he and his wife. We haven't pulled that together yet, but this is a top two on my bucket list.
This would be a good family vacation for us. Maybe we get the whole family.
Would be an amazing
do a safari, do the wine country, do the Cape down there, and so
there we go.
All right,
sounds like a plan.
Here we go. And number 10 is the top of the list for your mother, Marie. Antarctica, the ultimate coolcation. If you want to go all in on cool, this is it. This is my wife Marie's. She's got it on her list, and I keep putting it off because I don't know. You gotta love penguins and ice, and sitting on a boat
people?
for 2 weeks looking at nothing.
And what kind of trouble are you going to be in if you get to a point in life that you can't do it?
Yeah.
And you didn't give her that opportunity. So you might want to look in the mirror and figure this one out, because this is a bucket list, has been a bucket list of hers for 20 plus years. So, yeah, you may want
Paul,
to.
I think you might need to go with your mother.
Marriage counseling here. This is my marriage counseling for you.
Hey, what this means for traveler is heat is changing the whole travel behavior. We've seen that actually in July and August. People aren't going to Europe as much as they used to. There's some times that used to be the high season. Now it's one of the lower seasons. Airfares are rising. New routes like Greenland are coming into play. Shoulder season thinking is now where the mainstream is looking at, spring and fall. And the best trips in 2026 aren't crowded beaches, in my opinion. They're experienced, climate-smart escapes. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler. I'm Steve Glenn.
And I'm Paul Glenn. Please like, subscribe, share, and add any comments or feedbacks below on topics that would be of interest for future episodes. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Period.